1 Kings chapter 3, verse 16. The setting is Solomon once he's just come on the throne. There came there two women. Then came there two women that were harlots unto the king and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my Lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the third day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also. And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we two in the house. And this woman's child died in the night because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I arose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, The one saith, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is the dead. And the other saith, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned upon her son. And she said, O my Lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it. Then the king answered and said, Give her the living child, and in no way slay it. She is the mother thereof. Father, thank you for your word. Teach us, direct us, help us, and guide us, Father. I pray in the blessed Lord Jesus' name. Amen. Well, what happened here? What happened? Well, the one mother overlaid her child. She smothered it. The mother nursed and cared for her child. But the smother suffocated her child. She overlaid it. And I want you to ask yourself this morning, are you a mother or a smother? Are you a mother or are you a smother? Are you a grandmother or a grandsmother? Are you a mother-in-law or a smother-in-law? I'm serious. One was a mother. The other was a smother. What does the phrase overlaid mean? It means in the dictionary to lay too much upon, to oppress with incumbent weight, to smother with close covering. She smothered it. She had that child. She was not cognizant of that child being there. There was something missing. There was something there. I mean, that other mother didn't overlay her child. There was something there. There was something there in the back of the one's mind that wasn't in the mind of the other. And she just rolled over and suffocated that baby. Killed it. She woke up and she realizes my baby's dead. So she sneaks over, takes the living one out of the other mother's arms, puts her dead one there, and then goes her way, nurses the child. The other one wakes up, goes to nurse her child. She says, dead. But then she realizes, that's not my child. And the other one had it. She took my child. They come before the king, and Solomon, he had prayed for wisdom. God gave it to him. He said, okay, she says this, she says this. There's nobody there. It's just the two of them in the house. We don't know. Bring me a sword. And he said, okay, split that baby in half. Just cut it right in half. And you give one to the one and one to the other. And the lady whose baby it really was said, no. Just let her have it. Let her have it. Just let her have it. Just don't kill my baby. He said, and the other one said, find me. That's fair enough. The king said, we know who it is now. We knows which one it is. Because her heart yearned upon it. She had a natural affection there. She was a mother, not a smother. Listen, a mother nurses and tends to her child. Go to Isaiah 49. Isaiah 49. A mother nurses and tends to her child. Isaiah 49 verse 15. Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet will I not forget thee. In other words, the Lord talks about in this illustration of His great desire for His people, He brings up a mother's compassion on the son of her womb. When a woman has natural affection, but sometimes they don't. And the Bible speaks to this, as we'll see in a moment. But when a woman has a natural affection, when she's not so ate up with self or self-centered, listen, she'll have a natural affection. She'll nurse that child. She'll look after it. That's a natural affection. Listen, a mother or a smother. A mother or a smother. Ladies, listen. That baby is nursed when you're young, right? God fits you out for that. Okay. Now some women may nurse that child because if they don't, they're going to continue to stay engorged and they're just trying to get some relief there or whatever like that. But a mother is going to try to care for that child. And let me tell you something. A mother just won't stop nursing her child after she weans it. She'll continue to nurse that child. What I mean is, not with breast milk. What I'm talking about is she'll care and she'll tend for that child, and its welfare and its well-being is always on her mind. Listen, moms, young moms, older moms, look here. Listen, your care of that child, there should be a natural affection for that child that not just extends to nursing, but cares to keeping that child clothed as well as you can. We're not talking about high dollar stuff, but we are talking about neat and orderly and the child clean. That's a part of it. A mother does this. A smother doesn't. Do you understand me? Listen, you take that child and you do your best to keep that child clean and orderly. And listen, Bob Childress talked about his mama when they were coming up and said, we didn't have nothing, but my family did have the wash rag habit. Mom, listen, it ain't enough. It ain't enough to pull your jug out and feed that baby when that thing's little. It means also, listen, as when it's time, they're no longer weaning, that you'll take and make sure those young'uns, that those clothes, they don't have to be the best in the whole wide world, but they don't look like ragamuffins running around. Are you listening to me? And you make sure, listen, that they stay cleaned up. Because, listen, there's time to get good and dirty. There's a time young and all to get good and dirty. There's a time to clean them up. There's a time, you little girls remember that. There's time, look here. You take them out somewhere, you comb their hair. You clean their little faces up. You make sure there ain't no snot running around on them, and you clean their faces up. You make sure, they're changed if they need to be changed. Make sure that you put them out presentable. And I'm not talking about arrogantly. I'm not talking about a haughtiness. I'm talking about decency. I'm talking about cleanliness. You know, there's a reason though John Wesley said cleanliness is next to godliness. Because there's something, I believe, unspiritual about letting a young'un go to where it just gets to where anything goes. There's something unclean here. Do you understand me? Now listen, you take this today for what you want, but I'm going to tell you right now, back in October, I knew what I was supposed to preach today. And I've said I want this recorded and I want it going to every member of this church. I want every member of this church to get this. And I want you to think about it with your children, grandchildren, with this and that and the other. Listen, a mother will nurse, but not just with her milk, but she'll keep on with a right and a balanced kind of attitude. Take your Bible, go to Romans chapter 1. A natural affection. Rather than something unclean comes in where there's not a natural affection. Amen. And you mothers and you young mothers that were young girls that will one day be mothers, listen. You keep that baby as much as you can, that young, clean, presentable, all right, to where they're cleaned up. And listen, don't take them out like that, because you know what? You bring a bad testimony to the name of Jesus Christ. You'll bring a bad, listen, that thing, and for the young in itself, it ain't good. Not good in no way, shape, or form. Romans chapter 1, verse 31. Romans 1, verse 31. Without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection. The Bible speaks in the last days, the Bible speaks in these kind of times, there would be individuals without natural affection. And we see it today. There's no natural affection for that child. To where not just to nurse it, but to nurture it and bring it up and have a concern for its care and its upkeep. And not just left to itself. Mothers, make sure you're a mother and not a smother. A smother don't do these things. Mother will care about these kind of things. And care to make sure that child is neat and ordered. I'm not talking about high fashion. And there's a time and a place to get dirty. Sure there is. But neat and orderly and working with them to make sure that they get the understanding they need and come along. Listen, let me tell you something. It's not enough. It is not enough to consider that, you know what, I don't want the public school getting a hold of my young'un and putting stuff in there. Okay, if you're going to teach a child at home, you've got to teach them. And they're not going to teach themselves. And it ain't a matter of what all curriculums work. All of them work. Today it's phenomenal the number of curriculum you can find. They all work, but none will work if you don't do it. It takes the time to sit down and do it. Listen, there comes a thing that happens often to people that the idea of things becomes more important than the thing itself. And the legwork has to be done. It's got to be done. Listen, go to Titus chapter 2. Titus 2. Make sure you're a mother, not a smother. She overlaid that child. She smothered it. Titus 2 and verse 4. That they may teach the young women to be sober. To be sober. Brethren, you wouldn't think that in a Bible-believing church you would have to teach and preach about sobriety. You would think that people would know, but brother, nothing can be taken for granted in this day and hour. Brethren, we live in a day and hour that saints will use all kinds of reasons to take and even get themselves in a state of mind and inebriation that is totally against Scripture and yet justified. Well, be that as it may, the Bible says old women are to teach the young women to be sober. And brethren, you can't be sober-minded under the influences of anything, substances or whatever. You can't be sober-minded. The older women are to teach the younger women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. That's what older women are to teach younger women. And the world will teach you everything opposite. How often through the year, sweetheart, have I sat at times with individuals who have asked questions like concerning homeschooling and said, look, I've tried to say, you're thinking too much. You're thinking too much. You're looking at the curriculum as the answer. And you know what? It always becomes, so they talk to the pastor, but I saw this article, and you know what happens? They go ahead, follow the articles, do the stuff, and guess what? The kids end up suffering for it. How about some common sense? Listen, everybody is looking for a magic answer. It don't happen.
Amen. Yeah.
Everybody's looking for a magic answer. Because I'm lazy, I want something to do it for me. I don't want to take the time to nurture my children. I don't want to take the time to discipline. I don't want to take the time to teach them. I want a curriculum that will just do it. It don't happen. And I got news for you. There is no magic. They all work for the most part. Some may be better suited, but you've got to do it. Sisters, I know it's hard. Sisters, look here, I've tried to comfort and encourage and strengthen her through the years when she was doing it. I know sometimes you feel like the biggest failure, but listen, a lot of times, you know what it is? It's not enjoyable. It's not fun. You want to pull your hair out, but you got to do it. You've got to do it. You've got to. You're not going, listen, and I don't buy this stuff. I don't buy this stuff about, well, this curriculum, this is more kind of free-spirited, listen, there's a reason for organization. Amen. The main problem I got with the public school system is the junk sometimes they try to put in. Sometimes the evolution, this and the other. I got no problem with their orderliness. Yes, exactly. None. I got no problem with the orderliness of the public school system. That's what's hurt many homeschool kids. Listen, the parent didn't want to do it, didn't want to get up, let them do it in their pajamas. The kids suffered. Listen, the public school is better than most homes that let that go on. That's a fact. Okay, they're not getting the junk out there, but you know what? You're letting them grow up with no discipline. I'm going to tell you something. If it wasn't for the junk sometimes out there with evolution and all, they'd be better off. You're going to cripple them. Are you a mother or a smother? Now, I'm serious. I love you. I love you. But there's got to be organization. You get up, you set a time, you get those kids clothed, you get them clean. Listen, he's like, well, I just stop the crime. I know it's hard. I tried to encourage her. I know it got hard at times. But now listen, if you have them, there's certain things you will have to do. Now that's just the truth. A mother or a smother. Listen, these are things that a mother does. She'll take and she'll love her husband, love her children, be discreet, chaste, keep her at home, good, obedient to her own husband. She'll do that. That's what a mother will do. Now, she needs to be taught how to do those things. She needs to be instructed and helped. But you know what a smother does? A smother neglects her child. Her heart and mind are not on herself, on her child. Her heart and mind are on herself. She doesn't take measures to ensure her child's welfare. That's what a smother does. I mean, that baby's laying there. She's not cognizant in her mind, and she just smothers it. You know what she does? I'll just trade it out. Listen, do you take the time to be a good mother, or do you let things just develop as they will? Are you a mother or a smother? She overlaid it. She smothered it. Do you put too much on your children because you're lazy and self-centered? The lie that people tell them simply is, I want to make them responsible. No, it's not it. It should be, but that's not it so often. It's so you can be irresponsible. My girls or my sons, you know, they're so good at what they do. They can run the house. And so I'm doing it. See, keep telling yourself you're doing it to help them. No. It's so you are free to do whatever you want to do and dally through the internet world and do whatever. And I'm serious. I've seen it. I dealt with a family about 15, 20 years ago. And you know what happened? The mom wanted to flit around with her stuff. So yes, she made the little girls, especially the oldest little girl, really responsible. Guess what happened? About the time that girl got around 14, she's like, this is my home. And it started clashing. Because you know what? Guess who was taking care of everything? Guess who was doing cleaning? Guess who was looking at? And guess who felt like this is my home? And you know what? It's kind of hard to listen to mom when guess who's running the thing? Mm-hmm. Right. It wasn't about making them responsible. It was about, I got this little servant girl who can do what and I'm free to do what I want to do. Yep. It sounds good. You can fool yourself and lie to yourself with that stuff. That's a smother. Right. That's a smother. It's not a mother. That's the truth. And I can listen. I've even heard it. That girl, she can do this or she can do that. This girl can do this and this girl can do that. Until they get older, and they're like, and now they're telling the kid, whoa! I'm the mom here. Well, who's been looking after the kids? Who's been doing this? And so now you're going to say you're the mom. There's going to be a clash, and you helped cause it. There's importance to making them responsible, but not so you can duck yours. Be responsible. But again, not so you conduct your responsibilities. Let me tell you what else a smother does. A smother suffocates her children. She suffocates her husband with overmuch attention and detail. It's just too much. A smother does not give the right amount. Listen, every baby needs attention and love. A smother overdoes it. She suffocates. Every little detail, just hovering over, smothering their life. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. That kid, the first chance he gets, especially if he's a boy, first chance he gets, I am out of this thing and under this. I can't take it. You want a husband to do? He'll get to where he just can't stand it. He'll get irritable. He'll get to where because you know what? He feels like everything he does is subject to scrutiny. I can't do anything right. Everything I do is subject to scrutiny. Everything I do is the wrong thing. I never can measure up. I never can meet the thing because, you know what? Because he's married to a smother. That's the truth. If none of this applies to you this morning, glory to God, I thank the Lord for it. All I know is in October, I knew what I was supposed to preach today. All right? And I know that there are many ladies, they're not mothers, they're smothers. And you know what? The children and the husband are just constantly smothered with this. Let me tell you something. There can be too much loving attention to where it's like, lay off. This is too much. But I just want to stop. It'll have the opposite effect. Man, sure, it's nice to get a hug and a this, that, and the other. But listen, when it's just constantly, what are you gonna? What is this? And what are you gonna? It's like, hey, get me out of this. I can't take this. You suffocate me. By the way, the smother it's not really concerned for the child. I'm drawing something from these children that satisfies me. And more so than them, it's about me. Seriously. And so the smother takes and it just suffocates. Nothing can ever be, and she'll suffocate a husband. Just constantly. Just on him. What about this? What about that? You never, and you know what? He'll just take and he just overloaded with it. Smothered with it. Whether it's attention or detail or scrutiny, she's smothering. Now, ladies, I want to tell you something. Please receive this. Because if you do want genuine devotion and attention, if you smother the family, they're going to pull back and something inside of them will just go numb and you'll never have what you were looking for. They won't be able to give it. They won't be able to give it. Oh, they'll respect you. They will respect you. They'll have if they're saved, they'll have a spiritual love for you and will care for you. But when that baby was smothered, it killed something. It killed it. Smothering kills something. Mothering nurtures something. Mothering nurtures and grows something. Smothering kills it. You understand? Just constant, always. Listen. It's fine to have an interest in your children. Don't smother them. It's fine to have an interest in what's going on. Don't smother them with what you just give a little. Listen, that little young'un would have been alive if it had a little space. Would that baby not have lived if it had a little space? Didn't get no space. And it just died from the smothering. You'll kill something with smothering. With over-attention to detail. With scrutiny. With never can do anything right. Never can meet the standard. You'll kill something. And it'll take a miracle of God to get it back. God's a miracle working God. He can do. But I'm telling you, you want to be a mother, not a smother. And again, attention is fine. Attention detail's fine. But listen, Listen, if you ever sense from your husband, your children, your grandchildren, your stepchildren, if you ever sense a thing like, it's okay, it's okay, it's fine, back off. You're smothering. Back off. They'll avoid you. They'll sneak out of the house. Because they'll be like, are you bundled up enough? Are you ever? It's like, I mean, it's one thing to give a little comment, but they'll feel like, I can't breathe, I can't move. The little space that kept that young alive. Little space. By the way, my precious sisters, your husband wants a wife, not a mother even. He definitely don't want to smother, but you're his wife. You're not his mother. He does not want a mom. He wants you to be his wife. It's a different sound. Of course you care for her. But listen, be careful that you don't treat him like a mom. Especially don't treat him like a smother. You'll kill something. Listen, it'll cause them to push back. It'll cause them to get irritated. It'll cause them to resist you and stay away. Don't overdo it. Don't be a smother-in-law or a grand-smother. The true mother loved her child enough to lose it as long as it could live. The smother didn't care. As long as no one got ahead of her or had advantage she didn't have. You see, and think about it just a minute. These are two whores. Now, even a whore could have a right devotion for a child that come out of her womb. Okay. But this other one? Nah. Notice, when she got up and seen that baby was dead, where's the weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth, son? No, it's like, switch them out. And even willing to let the one be cut. There ain't no natural affection there. This other one had it. The real mother had the right. Listen, the smother didn't care so long as no one got ahead of her or had advantage she didn't have. Listen, how are these ladies making their living? Well, you know what? If her milk dries up, it's going to have effects. And if she could have this baby to nurse it, it would possibly help her to lose her pregnancy weight faster. I've researched that. And so, come on, she's making her living with her body. Okay? And so maybe get her weight off quicker and she's keeping herself engorged. Who knows? I'm just shoot straight with you. There's reasons here this is happening. Possibly external appearance was all that mattered to her. Do you care for the child or for some perceived benefit that child can give you? And by the way, this is not just, I'll say it's not just the ladies. I've seen too many in the Bible-believing crowd to where it's a group load of, look at my brood. Don't raise them. Don't raise them. But look what I can do. Lost people can do the same thing. Having babies is not spiritual.
Right.
It takes not an iota of spirituality or even salvation to make a baby. People in India and lost countries with pagan God do it all the time. We're pretty good at it. But raising them takes effort in the things of God. Listen, if she could have this baby, again, do you care for it or for some perceived benefit the child can give you? A true mother will lose her child if it means they can live. A smother wants the title of mother, but not the responsibility.
Right.
Now, which are you? I don't know. I just know I'm supposed to preach this morning. You see, the smother doesn't really love her children as much as she loves herself. So what happens today when a woman is saved or professes salvation or is in a church or an area that tries to preach and teach the Bible? What happens? How can you get power back that you lose if you're going to do right by God? How can you do that? Listen to me. Here's how it gets done. Here's how many women in Bible-believing churches get power that they know if they yield to God, they're supposed to be submissive to their husband. Here are the power moves they make. Health, doctors, and children are three of them. They're power moves. It's a power move. Okay, I'm supposed to submit to my husband, but how can I still have my health, my doctor? That's how I can have control of my life. And I'm telling you, it's a fact. That's why you'll find in a lot of Bible-believing churches, women will have these problems that never get fixed. They'll go from doctor to doctor to doctor. Because listen, if the husband is trying to serve God, and maybe he is too busy or like that, and she feels like I'm not getting attention, this doctor listens to me. I can tell him all my troubles. I can go and she'll take, and listen, that's why, brother, there are some women in Bible-believing churches that for 30 years have supposedly been dying and they ain't dead yet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They've been dying for 30 years, son. It's a joke. It's a sham. It's attention. It's a power move. Because you know what? I'm not getting what I had, and this is my niche. I can get power, I can have control of my life, and I can get attention. And this is how I do it. Sometimes with health, it's with doctors. Sometimes it's with children. Because I can have babies, and that gives me an element of power. You can think it's true or not. Now, I'm not saying in every case it isn't. But in many a case, it's a matter of this is my thing that makes me feel good about myself. And it's a power move. It is. Brother Gary Edmonds, he was an evangelist. Brother Gary Edmonds wrote a little thing one time, and he talked about the problems that believers have sometimes in their relationships. And talking about a man, wanting closeness with the wife, and she says, "Well, I gave you this many kids," and he said, "Yeah, I only wanted a couple of them." Listen to me. You be careful. You be careful. Folks, do you realize that any decision we make in life comes with consequences? Right. And you can't shake those things off. These are serious things. Ladies, look here. I don't know if any of this applies to anybody here, and I hope it don't, but if it does, I just know I'm supposed to preach today. I hope you've got enough to you to search your heart and search and look. And at the minimum, make sure you never become this. Because I'm telling you, a smother, this is how she does. It looks like it's about the child. It's not about the child. It's about self. Maybe a power move. It may be a thing that, but ultimately it becomes all about self. Because how can it be wrong? How can it be wrong to be constantly like, are you this and that? Oh, you got to eat this, and don't you sure you want to? And how can that be wrong? And I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. How can that be wrong? Whoa, back up. You don't feel right. A little space would have kept that baby alive. A little space. And it may not be smothered with attention that way. It may be just smothered constantly with just lay off. Don't scrutinize everything I do. I feel like I'm under the microscope, everything. Listen, sisters, I don't know, but if there's and I tell you, you would do wise. I try to do this in my life. You would be wise to go and say, Lord, could it be? Is there an element of it in my life? Could I be possibly a smother, a grand smother, or a smother-in-law? Lord, I don't want to be that. Please show it to me and help me to see it. There's a right amount. There's a right amount. Of course, that baby needs closeness. Boy, it was good. That true mother had her baby close by, ready to nurse it and feeling that touch and all like that. The problem is the smother just overlaid it with too much. Little space would have kept it alive. Well, what is it? Mother or smother? I don't know. I just know what I'm supposed to preach today. And I will say this, and nobody's picking on anybody, but I'll be where we're up to tonight in 1 Peter chapter 2. If we're here, it's that deal with wives and moms. I can't help it. Nobody planned a thing, that's for sure. But there might be something that's trying to be gotten across by God. I'm serious. It might do well to heed it. Oh, I know. Usually everything's always for everybody else. You know what? You know the error the devil will try to do to us? Watch this. Here's the error. Either it's for somebody else or everything's for us. Right. Really. What it usually becomes is either it's like, that's, yeah, boy, or it becomes, that's me, that's me. And it may not be. It may not be. It really may not be. I'm just saying be honest. Be honest. Search your heart. Try to be here tonight. There's some things I believe that piggyback on this that I can't help it. We're just up to it in 1 Peter 2. But there it is. But where are things at? Mother or smother? Grandmother, grand-smother. Mother-in-law or smother-in-law?